1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, besties. Welcome back to another episode of I Am Besties. I am your host, Vanessa, and my co-host is not here today. She will be missed, but in her replacement, I have
over here, Hugo.
My baby
I'm
daddy.
Back. It's been a while, guys.
My baby daddy. I know you guys loved him last time Steph and I had him on the show. Yeah. And since Steph couldn't make it and we didn't have a guest planned for today, we were like, you know what? Let's have Hugo on.
Yeah.
Kind of begged me to be on, if I'm being honest.
I was on my knees. I was like, yo, please.
I'm just like, no, but honestly, Hugo and I, we see each other often. You know, we have a baby together. And we do
Very
get
often.
into a lot of deep talks when we have time. So I was like, you know what? Let's just hop on here, light up a J. That's what we do.
I honestly wish we kind of had one right now.
I know.
I feel like we get into deeper talks when we have like a little J on.
Yeah, you know, when you're high as fuck, you know, just your mind just goes somewhere else. But you know, I haven't even smoked in like 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's
3-4
true.
weeks.
That's true.
I've been
and
sober.
You're going strong with that.
I know. I've been consistent. I've been determined to not smoke, but it's just because I've been struggling with my anxiety, guys. So
but how do you do it though? Because I know that because I stopped for a while. Well, like a while is like a week. But like you start to get like you start to shiver and you start to get like those withdrawal symptoms. Like
I didn't get that.
No,
because I went straight to drinking. Nah, I'm just like
so you just numbed like the withdrawal.
I traded one vice for another.
Damn.
No, but I never got withdrawals, to be honest. I think the one time I did get it was like during the pandemic. You know how like it was every day. Like I got to a point where I was smoking a J in the morning, I was smoking a J at night, you know, before Ezra woke up and after he went to sleep. Like I was smoking, and my tolerance kept going up, and that time when I did stop for a long period of time after that, I did get withdrawals. But it was because I feel like I was doing like a lot. But this time around, I hadn't been doing it that much. And if I would smoke every other night because I stopped smoking out completely during the morning, during the day. It's not for me. And when I did smoke at night, which was only here and there whenever you would be there, I wouldn't really smoke if you weren't there. I would only take a couple hits too, like 2 or 3. So like that, I feel like withdrawals wasn't really.
Oh, okay. So you always have like little baby hits. To, like,
yes. I wasn't really.
All right, so it wasn't 3 weeks, guys. It was
no.
Starting now, it's like 4 hours.
No, stop. No, but yeah, I've been, but I have been drinking a lot though. I need to stop. We were talking about that. Just cause, I used to drink very heavily. College, high school
we both
days.
did.
Oh yeah.
At the same time, we drank.
When we
heavy.
met.
Yeah.
When we met, it was like
we met at a fucking party. Like we
Yeah.
were heavily drinking shit.
we were drunk at the party, and we met, and it was that phase of my life. I used like alcohol to cope like heavy, and not that I'm using it to cope now, but it definitely, I do always wake up the next day regretting it, and not like a heavy regret. Like I used to get like anxiety, and I would wake up ashamed of what I did the night before, and like regretting and like guilty.
The cringe and all that.
Yeah, the cringe.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. But
deleting all the posts in the morning.
Literally, oh fuck, deleting everything you posted, looking over your text messages. Who did you text? Like, what did you say? Like, no, yeah, no, definitely. I don't wake up feeling that way anymore, but I do wake up feeling or having thoughts of I know better. You know, like. I know what alcohol does to the body now. You know, I know that there are better options or there are other ways. I don't always have to drink when I go out. Like, and I just basically like, I know better, you know, and it's not a habit that I wanted to continue. Hence why I stopped long ago. So to catch myself like picking it up again, I'm just like, fuck, like I do feel like I'm beating myself up a little and like, you know, but I'm trying not to. Caliucci's, you know that singer?
No, I don't.
She, you know, it's funny. A lot of people say I look like her. I'm about to show you a picture of her.
What?
I know. I get that comment. I see a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But I don't like. I see why people say it, but I don't think so like crazy. But you tell me.
Let me see. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Just like the side profile though.
Yeah, yeah. What's it called? She posted a post on her Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to read it for you guys. She said, and I just wanted to ask you if you resonate with this based off like you used to drink too.
Okay.
She said, there are spiritual consequences and no one can convince me otherwise. The root of the word alcohol comes from the Arabic kul, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, which means body aiding spirit. The alcohol is used to in alchemy, alcohol is used to extract the soul essence of an entity.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, it's used in extracting essences for essential oil and sterilization. By consuming it into the body, it extracts the very essence of the soul, allowing the body to be more susceptible to low frequencies and even demonic energies.
Yeah.
It takes us away from our purest selves and our good soul. That's why it's legal, y'all. They want y'all to become alcoholics for real.
That's wild.
So she posted that on her Instagram, and I just saw it, like, she's urging everybody to stop drinking alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm being honest, when I think about not drinking alcohol, I don't necessarily think of it in spiritual terms the way she's explaining it, but it makes sense, the whole alcohol stripping you of your essence and allowing for lower vibrations to enter your body. Because what happens when you're drunk, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of stories. I have a lot of stories of times that I've gotten super drunk and I don't remember what I did, or I acted in ways I'm not proud of, or I said things I'm not proud of that I wouldn't have done otherwise. The next morning you wake up ashamed, you wake up feeling guilty, you wake up feeling sluggish, like gross, like all these things.
Yeah.
And why else? It makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like the thought that like of the reason why that we even drink alcohol is crazy. Like everyone wants to be authentic, everyone wants to feel authentic, and when they drink alcohol, it's like everyone is authentic when they're drinking alcohol, because you're kind of just like you're just doing.
Not, yeah, it's like you're not caring about what people are thinking about you.
And then that's why like the next day we always experience that like cringe, because we're back into our beliefs. We're back into like all that like or that judgmental state of mind where we judge ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's just it's wild, like the party that we were at, and for the first time I decided to smoke, and I had like a little tea, and everyone was like drunk and having fun, like, and everything. And I remember thinking, like, standing there thinking like, damn, everyone looks like they're having a good ass time. But like when I think about the same people when they're sober, when they're when they're not drinking, they're just kind of chill, like, or they feel very like judgmental, like, towards themselves.
Yeah, like they're afraid to just be.
Yeah.
Like they're hiding who they are.
Yeah,
and
like
when you drink, it takes that away. They're just like, I'm gonna just
shame
be.
kind of like leaves you, the shame and guilt. Yeah. And then like when it comes down to like stopping alcohol, like you also get those withdrawals.
The withdrawals.
Yeah. So like at the same time, like I have this like whole theory where like society is meant to keep us like in this, like, we're like traumatized, and traumatized, and the alcohol is meant to make us feel like we are not, but then
that's why it's so addicting.
That's why it creates that addiction, and then alcohol is not even normalized as like a bad drug or nothing. Like they say, oh, weed is worse, oh, psychedelics are worse.
Yeah.
But I feel like alcohol is like the worst thing that you can actually consume.
Yeah.
Right?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
It is. And it's not just like a thought, it's like scientifically proven.
Yeah.
How bad like alcohol is for you. And you've been exploring psychedelics recently.
Oh, yeah.
How's that been? Because I know, I mean, we know we smoke, but
yeah, honestly, it's like doing psychedelics when I first started. I haven't done any heavy doses or nothing, like honestly, I don't even like weigh them or measure or nothing, like.
Yeah.
I just get like
just take that shit, hope for the best.
Stream. Yeah, I just take it and just hope for the best. Yeah. And I've had interesting experiences. I don't think I've experienced anxiety through psychedelics, but I have experienced like really intense like energy, like if you're having anxiety, your body's kind of like very tense and everything, but it didn't feel like anything scary. And I found, like, over time of practicing, taking these, I found that just being out in nature, or finding a way to kind of ground myself, like being barefoot, or having my hands like on the ground, like they always made me feel like very grounded. And then like the other day I was telling you, like I was on the shrooms, and like um I was barefoot on the grass, and I started to feel like the tingling sensations like on my tailbone and everything. I was like, bro, like this is the energy, like it's coming up, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But when it comes down to like chakras, our lowest chakra is our root chakra, which is it has a lot to do with our inner child. And I found that one good way to kind of like ease like the tension with like the inner child pain is to ground, which is just being barefoot like on the ground, just outside.
So you recommend it for anyone you feel like had a rough childhood and went through a lot of trauma?
Yeah,
They should
psychedelics.
ground
Yeah, so
and take psychedelics.
yeah. So it's meant, psychedelics can help you with addiction. So if you're like addicted to weed or whatever, like psychedelics will help you, like, get through that.
Or alcohol or anything
Yeah,
like that.
and
Yeah.
anything that you're addicted to, yeah.
Okay.
Because it kind of just like opens up your mind. You feel like when I'm on on mushrooms, I feel super light. I feel like if I jump, I could like jump up high and everything. But like in a sense, it's like the beliefs and everything, they kind of like they're off your shoulders, so you
Okay.
feel a lot more light. You
Any
feel
negative beliefs that might be driving you to those addictions are kind of like dropped when you
yeah.
take
Yeah, you
psychedelics.
just become open-minded. But I feel like it takes
Different
practice.
perspective.
Yeah, it takes practice for someone who might be very traumatized like me. I believed that I was super traumatized because of the experiences through psychedelics, because a lot of dark things would come up, you know. And now it's a whole different, it's like a complete flip, because now I when I look at people, especially people who in a way I like, in my head I would judge them kind of. Now when I look at these people, I only see like the positives, like, oh, they can do this, like, although they can be this way, wow, they can do this, you know. And when I see people go through rituals like ayahuasca and all the bufa or something, um they literally come out of that state with that same mentality, you know. And I think I was telling you like the other day too, like this guy, it was in Spanish, but like when he was coming down from it, from the psychedelic, from the ayahuasca, he was shaking someone's hand, and he was saying, te amo porque me amo, te respeto porque me respeto. So it's like that realization that you can only realize when you're on the psychedelic, like on a deep one. But before trying it, it's definitely smart to do a lot of research on what
Yeah.
psychedelic is, what it's for.
Yes, we're not encouraging y'all to go out there and just do them right
Yeah.
now. No, definitely do your research.
Hmm.
Definitely do it in a safe space. Have a trip sitter if you can, someone that's
Hmm.
sober, and especially if it's your first time and you're a little nervous about it. And set an intention. I also believe is
Yeah,
important.
and one really important thing is clean the space around you. Like, make sure you're in a clean little environment, because a mess in general just kind of fucks with your with your brain.
Yeah,
That it makes you feel like there's a sense of chaos, you know?
yeah, yeah, and not just that on psychedelics, but I've heard um scientists and like psychologists and therapists, like anybody that studies like the brain
Mhm.
and is like in that space, I guess they've said that your environment, your space is a reflection of your mind. So if you're in a place that's cluttered or not what's the word, not the, I was gonna say cleansy, no, I'm
Mhm.
butchering the word, but not the cleanest space.
Mhm.
um that, don't beat yourself up, of course, but definitely it's a reflection of what's going on internally.
Mhm.
And I resonate with that, because I for sure am not the cleanest person, but I have also struggled with like depression, and I've struggled with a lot of things that made it hard for me to
Mhm.
have a clean space, because I've just always been more preoccupied with my the internal wars, I guess, that I had
Yeah.
going on, and that make it very difficult to get out of bed, and
Mhm.
that make it difficult to want to clean and do dishes and things like that. It's definitely getting better, but not until I started taking care of my inner world.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and I'm still not the cleanest person, but compared to how I used to be back in the day, it's gotten a lot better for sure. At least my room is something that I make sure to always try to be on top of.
Mhm.
And I used to just let that shit.
Oh.
Everything, 6 water bottles on the floor.
Yeah,
on
for
the freaking crumbs all over the floor. Dirty freaking clothes basket piled up for months.
But like throw in being a parent though, like I feel like that makes it so much harder to even like process waking up. Sometimes you're like waking up, oh shit, I have a kid. Like
no, but you know what? I get that perspective, and I know a lot of parents feel that way because it is a lot of work being a parent. But I feel like in my case, it does motivate me to at least have a clean space in my room.
Oh yeah,
just because you know Ezra's there with me most of the time, and I just want, you know, I don't want him to grow up and just I want him to have good habits, you know, and I know that good habits start with me. So I want to at least in our space in our room, because, you know, I live with my mom and my siblings. So I know outside of my room, I don't have full control over the mess level outside of my room. But I know that in my room, I have full control over how it's going to look and what's that, the routine I'm going to have in my room. So just try to do good by him, because I feel like one of the things that I've always judged my parents growing up for was not, I felt like, well, as an adult, when I was going through my awakening and realizing, you know, how much trauma I got from my parents and how hurt I've been by them, one of the things that I've always kind of would throw at them is like, oh, you guys never, you know, instilled good habits in me. You know, you never taught me discipline, never taught me responsibility, you know, things that now as an adult I have to learn on my own. And that I see other people my age already have discipline, responsibility, and they have what's that word? I guess discipline, you know, in everything they do and their habits, and in a sense that's a huge leg up, you know, in life, because in anything you need discipline. You need to be able to be responsible and multitask and do all these things. And I felt like behind as an adult because those are the things that came really hard for me, you know, and but the examples that I had weren't great. And so that was the thing that I would always tell my parents, like, you know, you guys this, you guys that. And now that I'm a parent, I'm realizing, you know, it's hard to, well, because I already don't have it and I'm trying to learn as an adult. I feel like I beat myself more up because I'm like, damn, I don't want Ezra to grow up one day and look at me and tell me
to mirror us.
Yeah, to be like, you didn't teach me discipline, you didn't teach me good habits, you didn't teach me, you know, responsibility, you know. So I'm trying to, whenever I wake up and there's, you know, oh, I don't want to do my bed today, or oh, I don't want to do this today, and it's just all things that come down to habit, you know, having good, just a good routine, I guess, and things I don't want to do. I just think about Ezra telling me, Mom, why'd you, you know, and I'm like, okay, you know what? No, I'm like, I have to, these are things that I have to do, you know, that are going to be good in the long run for me anyway. You know, it's not like I'm making myself do something that's going to hurt me.
Yeah. And you know, what's crazy about experiencing all that is that, at least for me, sometimes it feels like I'm the only one experiencing that, like in the world type of thing. Cause sometimes it can feel so intense, you know?
Yeah.
So how would you, how would you guide someone out of like that hole? Like,
what hole? Like,
well, I wouldn't even call it a hole. It's like just that repetitive, like I don't want to get out of bed, or like I can't do my bed right now. Like would you have like any advice for that?
Honestly, I don't even have, I feel like every day looks so different for me. But one of the things that I guess has been really replaying in my head lately is that whatever you avoid doing in your day to day, you know, you're reinforcing the idea of why you don't do it. So, you know, if your brain, if you like, let's say you avoid getting up a bed because you're thinking about the day ahead of you and you're already having negative thoughts about the day ahead of you. So you don't even want to bother. So you just like rather stay in bed. You know, your brain, what you're signaling to your brain is, yeah, that's bad. We should stay away from that. So every morning, let's send you more signals in the morning that make you want to stay in bed.
So your body picks up on the patterns.
Yeah, the pattern of you not wanting to stay, you know, you're staying in bed. So the brain's like, okay, whatever she's avoiding, it's obviously really bad. So let's send her more of these unpleasant, negative thoughts in the morning every day so that she can stay in bed.
That's wild.
And kind of understanding that, it's made me realize that if I want to be that person that's able to get out of bed in the morning, even when I have those negative thoughts that kind of want to keep me in bed, I have to just get really good at being able to hear them in my head, because they're there, they're not going to be there, and just getting up anyway. And I know it's so hard. It's one of those things that you just kind of have to say, like, 1, 2, 3, go. Like, don't think about it too much. Don't. And a lot of people will say, myself included, you'll find that once you're up and you've started the day, you're like, why did I even want to be in bed so much? Like, the day's not even as bad. It turned out to be a good day, or not as bad a day as I thought it was going to be. It's just those thoughts, they feel so real and so heavy in the moment, so we just listen to them. But if we could get good at, even if you don't want to get up, just start by sitting up at least. Stay in your bed all day.
Stretching in bed.
Yeah, stretch in bed. Sit up, lean against the wall if you have a wall near you, or a headboard or something. Like, just sit up. That's a step. And then maybe sit up for an hour, and then try to take a next step. It's all baby steps. Another thing that I used to always try to do is, if I'm not able to do it 100% right or know everything, then I'm not even going to try. It was just one of the things that I would always do, but that stopped me from doing a lot of things, because I felt like I wasn't ready, or I didn't, I wouldn't be able to handle it. But I'm learning that baby steps, it's what's going to get me there. I can't just wake up one day and think I'm going to wake up and get it all right, make all the right decisions, do all the best things for me. No, it's going to start little by little, by implementing little things.
Yeah.
And even if you don't want to get out of bed, at least have some water next to you in a nightstand, water bottle if you don't have a nightstand, and just drink water. A lot of times, sometimes you just need to do something that breaks the I guess the repetitiveness of staying in bed every day. If your body's just used to waking up and laying in bed, then just try to drink some water, or have something to kind of just break the cycle in tiny ways, until you can actually get yourself to get out of bed completely.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's not.
It is really hard.
It's hard when you're there, but the more you try to take the baby steps, it definitely gets easier. The hard part, it's funny, it gets easier, but the hard part is doing it every day. That's consistency. The consistency is the hard part. It does get easier. It's just it's hard to be consistent. Not that no one wants to, because I know everybody wants to be consistent. It's just hard.
It's so cool, because I could compare that to, like, playing the guitar. Like, when I'm learning a song, like, you have to be very consistent with, like, repeating, like, whatever riff you're, like, I'm learning, and, like, eventually, like, I'll find myself just playing it like if I wasn't even practicing, so it's like the same thing with doing all that. Like, we wake up and everything. But I remember I went through a long phase, like, where I would just wake up, or actually I would wake up earlier, but I would get up by like 1, 2 in the afternoon. And lately I've been doing so much in introspection, and I feel like in my life, one of the reasons that really kept me in bed was, first, because I feel like I might have, like, ADHD or something. But no, I might be experiencing symptoms of ADHD. But I feel like because when we were little, like, we express a lot more, and I could imagine my parents or adults within that age telling us, like, calm down, you're too hyper, calm down. And now, as an adult, like, I have that voice stuck in my head where I'm like, all right, you gotta chill, like, you can't be doing this and this, like, stop being extra, blah blah blah, and it's, like, very judgmental. And over time, like, that voice kind of, like, faded away, and it just became muscle memory. Like, okay, just stay in bed all day, like, and like, over time, we tend to forget why we do the things that we do now, and that's why, like, the introspection is, like, it's crucial. It's really crucial, but we're not taught that. But like, going back to ADHD, I feel like the way I've been, like, starting my days, I've been trying to do it as if I was diagnosed. So I'm like, okay, I have all this energy, I know I'm capable, so every day, I learned that starting my day off with getting sun has been the perfect way to start every day. I'll just step outside and just get some sun. I'll have, like, my shirt off, or I'll do, like, some yoga or something. But that has proven to be, like, the best way to start my day, especially because they say that if you start your day off with sun, you're telling your, or I forgot what the explanation, but you pretty much uh I forgot the explanation, but it's easier to fall asleep at night because your brain detects the light in the morning, and then it knows when it's time to rest.
Yeah.
Something about like you build more melatonin in your brain or
The
something like that.
production of certain, it sets the clock for to start producing certain chemicals that are going to be released into your body later in the day.
Yeah, yeah. So your body
Um
knows. So your body
yeah.
knows when you're getting the sun,
Mhm.
and okay, I'm getting sun right now. Okay, this is gonna be
It
bedtime
must
later.
be, yeah, bedtime's going to be around this time,
Yeah,
so around this time we're going to release these.
yeah. So
Mhm.
the number one thing that helped me, like, get out of bed and like feel like I have some energy is really overall just sleeping the I mean, fixing the sleeping schedule, which is like the number one thing.
Oh yeah, I saw that recently. Somebody said that if you want to be getting up in the morning, it all starts the night before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to get enough sleep to feel like you're capable of doing shit. Cause when you're tired, you're just like, "Oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
Like
You know
I'm depressed, but sometimes we mix it for being
y-
tired and everything.
yeah. No, and it's funny because I was telling you the other day that on the days that I sleep more, I feel like I wake up more tired. And I know a lot of people resonate with that.
Yeah, I wonder why though.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
like I'm genuinely curious
No,
about
yeah,
how
me
the
too.
body works that way.
Yeah, and I
Like when you sleep longer, you wake up more tired.
yeah, yeah, like I feel more exhausted in the morning.
Hmm.
And that's happened to me so many times that there's been times where like I know I need to get up in the morning for something,
Hmm.
and I'll purposely go to sleep at a later time because I'm like, I know that if I go to sleep early, I'm gonna wake up more tired and I don't
Hmm.
want to deal with that. So I'm just gonna stay up late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
I'm gonna stay
heard
up late tweeting.
for real,
I'm
huh?
gonna,
Like
I'm
on
gonna stay up
TikTok.
late tweeting. I'm gonna stay up late tweeting all my business because Twitter is like therapy.
Dude, I haven't had Twitter in so long, but that honestly it was like therapy at some point. Just
It's
like these are my thoughts just going all day. Like,
Yes, and it's funny because back in high school, Twitter was popping. Like college. I know you were on Twitter back in. We
mhm.
met for the first time on Twitter. That's
Yeah,
funny.
we spoke on Twitter before we
Yes,
met, which was
guys.
like years apart. It was
It was like probably 2 years.
two
No, no,
years.
no, no, not two. Like one. I want
We
to say
messaged when you were like well, we were like sophomores.
you.
I was a
Well, I'm a
junior,
year
you were,
younger than you,
yeah, I was
so
a junior, you were like a sophomore or
yeah,
something. I
yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
And
And we did not. We did not like each other. We talked for like 2 days
and that
and we
was
were
it. We're
like,
just
this is
like,
not the vibe. Like we're not vibing.
yeah.
I don't even remember what we talked about. Do you remember?
I don't
No,
know.
but I just remember it was not the vibe. Nothing came from that. But yeah, I remember back in the day, tweeting was so fun. Like for me, like just being able to tweet any thought that I had and just respond to other people's thoughts, and I never really thought more deeply of them, you know? Like somebody could have tweeted something stupid, like I don't know, just any dumb shit, and
Well,
I would.
all your tweets are funny as hell. Like what was your last tweet about? I forgot what it was. But it was funny as hell though. I don't have Twitter. I was about to search it up right now.
I don't remember the last thing I tweeted, but the point that I'm making now is that with this newfound awareness that I have, I can still go on Twitter and like acknowledge, oh, like this tweet's funny, like laugh at it. But there's also now this other part of me that recognizes these tweets as like people's thoughts and like inner worlds. Like
Mm-hmm.
these thoughts are giving me like a window into how this person
Oh
is
yeah.
and thinks.
Mm-hmm.
Like if someone tweeted, oh my God, like I, oh, like some girl tweeted, she tweeted, I woke up late and missed the bus to school. And she tweeted, and this what happened to me on the day that I said that I was gonna start repeating to myself, I have lucky girl syndrome.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
And back then I would just probably laugh, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like ha ha ha, like that sucks, she missed the bus on the day that she's starting the mantra of I'm a lucky girl,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's unlucky as fuck, bitch. Like you missed the bus, I would have just laughed at it. But this like newfound awareness that I have now is just like I'll read that tweet now and I'm like, and I wanted to respond to her and be like, well, how do you know if that's unlucky? You
That's
know?
true, yeah.
Because what if you missed the bus because the bus was gonna crash and everyone's gonna die?
Redirected, yeah.
Exactly, you know, and it's like, and why do you want lucky girl syndrome? Do you feel unlucky? Like, how's your, you know, what do you think about yourself? Like, do you have low self-esteem? Like, do you feel like you're not good enough? Like, you know, it's like I'm reading these tweets now, and I get like a million questions about who this person is, and I'm you know, I'm assuming obviously I don't know this person, but gives me little glimpses of their inner worlds, and it's just crazy, you know, thinking on like how much I've grown and how things that used to be fun for me, yeah, they're still funny now, but it's changed. Like my mentality has changed.
You start to question life a little more, like ponder on like ideas.
Yes, and sometimes it could be, you know, I don't know, like I be seeing people's tweets. I'm like, damn, this is like therapy for them.
Yeah, literally. This is like, they're just going off.
They're going off about everything, and it's funny to read. You know, sometimes it could be funny, but sometimes I'm like, damn, they need a friend.
Yeah, I always wonder because I remember I used to tweet a lot too. Yeah, and all my thoughts.
I would tweet like 20 times a day.
Yeah, but I want to know like what's the science behind like why we even want to put our thoughts, like every single thought, like every.
What makes us want to just tweet everything?
Yeah, but like, are we getting like this like hit of like what's that serotonin, right? Where it's like it makes us happy.
Yeah, dopamine.
Yeah, serotonin. Yeah, dopamine. Are we getting hits of like dopamine every time we tweet, or like what is the intention?
At the possibility of getting attention from it. Before we continue, we're gonna shout out our sponsors at Manscaped. Cue dramatic sounds. Ladies, this is a public service announcement. Manscaped now has beard products. If you haven't already heard, the leaders in below the waist grooming are traveling north of your man's South Pole with the revolutionary Beard Hedger Pro Kit. That's right, this plus their signature performance package 4.0, Manscaped has all the best tools for his hygiene toolbox. Make sure he tames his mane from waist to face by having him go to manscaped.com and using our code Besties for 20% off plus free shipping. I just feel like these products really are changing the game when it comes to beard, because all the men in my life right now, whether it's my manager Saul, my baby daddy Hugo, like all my friends, like from Bueno Bueno, Ayun friends, like they all got some good beards, and you guys, we all be rocking with Manscaped, and I could just tell their confidence has changed, and I could tell a difference in their just the way that they look. It looks more clean, it looks more sleek. Even the oils has been helping them look more shiny and just better. Like I could just tell that it's helping them, because we already know that features on a face make a huge difference in how you look. So you got to have that looking right. Ladies, meet the Beard Hedger Pro Kit. It is the ultimate package that makes it easier than ever for the man in your life to craft his signature look. It all starts with the Beard Hedger, the only beard trimmer he'll ever need. The Beard Hedger has a titanium-coated T-blade that is tough on hair but smooth on his face, leading to a single-stroke efficiency that brings satisfaction one stroke at a time. This waterproof cordless trimmer has a rotary wheel that gives him 20 hair-cutting lengths, all with one guard, so no more messy drawers full of extra add-ons. Yeah, you heard that. No more of your drawers full of 20 different guards. The Pro Kit is much more than a trimmer, though. It comes with 4 dermatologist-tested formulations for his post-trim care. Trust me, both of you are going to love this. This includes Manscaped's beard shampoo and conditioner, beard oil, and beard balm to moisturize, style, and shimmer those beautiful locks on his face. The Pro Beard Kit also comes with 3 free gifts: a beard brush, comb, and scissors to ensure his beard is ready to impress. Now that the upstairs is taken care of, let's talk about behind the scenes. If you haven't already, he must try Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0 for the full premium experience, including their Lawnmower 4.0, the brand new Weed Whacker 2.0, much more. He'll be covering all bases, if you know what I mean. Get him the gifts you both will enjoy with Manscaped. So get 20% off plus free shipping with their code BESTIES at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use our code BESTIES. Trust Manscaped's Beard Hedger Pro Kit and Performance Package 4.0 for the only right tools for the job. And now we're back to our regular scheduled programming. Because I remember back in the day, I would tweet things, and if it didn't get enough amount of likes or retweets, I would delete it.
Dude, same, yeah.
I'd be like, damn, that didn't hit as much as I thought it was gonna. Yeah. Let me delete it. You know, and then that just kind of begs the question, why are you tweeting then?
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
You're not doing it for enjoyment or just because you wanted to share that. You're doing it because you're expecting something.
Yeah, you know? And it's crazy because I questioned it so much that I said, you know what, I'm gonna just delete the app, man. Like I don't need it. Yeah.
Are you talking about the tweet that I said, "Grow the fuck up and listen to country"?
I think so. I was cracking up at that one.
And then I don't
Grow the
tweet.
Fuck up and listen to country.
Dude, it's because I was such a bandwagon hater of country growing up for no fucking reason. I
listen to everything but country.
Literally, like if you listen to country, you're not getting aux. Like, bitch, the fuck I was just on some hater shit just because that's what everybody was on. But no, I genuinely like I fuck with country now. Like it's really dope.
I feel like the go-to country song was like Tennessee Whiskey for a bit.
Oh, when that song came out, everybody.
When did it? Isn't it like an old song?
Yeah, that song came out like 2018. I think 2018, 2017.
I thought it was older
out.
Than that.
No, Tennessee Whiskey.
What? Mm-hmm. I thought it was like a classic or something.
No, but you know what is a classic?
What is?
The Sabo game. Have you heard of that game?
I've never played it. What is it? It sounds cool.
So let me tell you. Have you heard of the Sabo game? If you have not, this is a perfect time to introduce our newest sponsor for the podcast, Sabo the game. Make sure to check them out on all social media platforms under the Sabo game and also online at yosabo.com. Sabo the game is a new card game for your next game night. It started off as a way to remember some tricky Spanish words, but it has evolved into a way to reconnect with your childhood and share some funny memories with your friends. Do not worry, you can still win the game by answering Latino trivia or by winning the challenges on the chancla cards. So make your favorite drink or pour some shots and get ready for game night. Tú sabes. Sabo the game was created as a way to embrace all the different experiences we had growing up, so it makes it the perfect game for your next family game night. Make sure to support the Latino-owned small business today. Find them with their social media handle, Sabo the game, and online at yosabothegame.com. Thank you for sponsoring us. Love you. No, and I've played the game a couple times. It's pretty funny. I feel like you would have a lot of fun because I feel like you struggle with Spanish more than me. With certain Spanish words. Yeah. And I would love to play with you just to see.
Should we play one right now, like a little quick round, or what?
We don't have it. But,
we don't. Okay.
But I have one at home though.
All right.
We'll play because I'm very curious to see how many you would get right.
Yeah, let us know if you guys want to see that so we could film it.
Literally. It's so bad. Your Spanish could be bad sometimes. You'd be like,
hell yeah.
Like, what is that? And it's crazy because your mom speaks only Spanish.
Yeah, but with my dad, it was only English. Only English. So even with my mom, like I would get super frustrated because I always had like a stutter. So when it came down to Spanish, I would always get stuck. Like it wasn't because I couldn't pronounce the word. It was because speaking Spanish just made me stutter. So like speaking to my mom, like growing up, I was like trying to speak to her in English. Like, I can't. So I just stuck to English. Like,
Gotcha. Yeah. I know it's interesting. Your dad mentioned that when you guys were born here, he always made it a point to speak to you guys in English. He didn't want you guys to only know Spanish because he didn't want you guys to be at a disadvantage when you started school and things like that, which I feel is a valid it's a valid worry, I guess. He didn't want you guys to fall behind in school. But it's just it just goes to show a lot of the worries like that Latino parents have when trying to integrate themselves into this country. And it's sad because he didn't know that kids are very smart and are very capable of picking up 2 languages fluently, written and spoken to the T amazingly. He didn't have to not speak Spanish to you. He could have done. They did do both, but I mean, if he wanted to speak to you in Spanish, he could have done that. But I feel like he didn't just because he wanted you to be well spoken in English.
He was always like very like proper too. Like he was always...
yeah, and because I mean, me in my household, we only spoke Spanish. Like I was only Spanish at home and English at school, and I thrived. I mean, I was in ELD, but because I was born in Mexico, but I never lived in Mexico. I grew up here since I was like 9 months old. So
I feel like because you're very like a family person too, you're like very exposed to like the Spanish.
We spoke Spanish,
Yeah,
all my sisters, my parents, and my family, my extended family, they only spoke Spanish. Well, my cousin spoke English, but I picked up, English well. Like it wasn't ever a struggle, so
that is crazy, huh? That you don't have like an accent or nothing.
I do. I feel like I do. I feel like
I don't hear it anymore.
Really?
Maybe when I first met you, I was like, she a chola or what?
When we spoke on the phone. Hell no. I feel like I could tell more when I'm speaking on the phone.
When you hear yourself,
it's funny that you say I have an accent, because I hear the accent, but then I also feel like I have a white girl accent too.
Like a whitewashed.
Like a whitewashed, and I feel like I'm ashamed more of the whitewashed one, because I don't know, do I sound like a Karen? Like, do I feel like I sound like a Karen? Like, I would hate to sound like a Karen, or like I say the word like a lot. We talked about that in the last episode. Like a lot, and I feel like a lot of people out here in the IE say the word like a lot. Like it's part of its culture at this point to say like. It's rare for me to meet a person that doesn't say like a lot, and but everyone's always. One of the comments we get a lot is like, "Can these girls go one sentence without saying the word like?"
I think I've seen those.
And I'm just like, "F you guys."
Yeah.
Like,
but honestly, it's hard though. Like, try it. See, I just did it right now.
It's hard. Let's go 5 minutes right now. Like we did that last time. I'm gonna do it right now. We set a timer for 5 minutes, and we had to go 5 minutes without saying the word like. Okay, it started.
So what I learned in this like charisma YouTube channel, to avoid saying things like and all that, you have to talk slower, which is what I'm trying to do now, right? So you can think about what you're saying without filling in those silent gaps. And filling in those silent gaps show a lot of like very like fast paced, like you're not really thinking about what you're saying. But there's a lot of people. Have I said it yet? I haven't.
You have.
Yeah? No fucking way. but like I damn. I can tell that when I start talking, I want to talk in a fast paced, and I start saying like. It's how do you guys do it? Like how do you do it?
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because last episode when we filmed, the moment we set the timer, we all automatically started speaking slower. And I don't think that it was intentional. I just think naturally we knew that we had to kind of watch what we were saying. And that's the point you just made, that when you're speaking fast, you don't really think about what you're saying. You're just kind of like boom, 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 like go, go, go. So it's part of our vocabulary. So we're just saying like a bunch of times.
Yeah.
But it's definitely tough to not say the word like.
Yeah.
But
like me, like me. I notice I get very overstimulated when people are talking like super fast, and I just said it again. But I notice that when I'm off camera, I'm a little more relaxed. So I talk very slow. I take my time. Like I pause and I'm just like, I think about what I'm saying, and I just keep going.
You do. You're a very mellow, soft spoken, like low.
Yeah, I've always been.
I would even say monotone sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing.
No,
and I think it's funny that you and I you and I came together, because I've always been the complete opposite. Yeah. I've always been loud. I spoke fast, messy. You were clean.
I had like a more like structured,
organized day, hobbies, things like that. I never had hobbies. I was not creative. I do believe that
you are creative.
Tapping into my creativity a little more now. Like I'm seeing it. But I wasn't. At the time when I met you, it wasn't something I thought I had in me.
But you were doing poems and everything. You were writing.
I admitted
and
to
I really liked.
No, it's funny, you guys. I'm gonna put myself on blast because you just mentioned that I would write poems, and I remember I told you.
Is everything a lie? What's going on?
No, we spoke about this already. I told
forgot,
you. Yeah, you did. You're probably high as fuck out of your mind.
Probably, yeah.
It's funny because when I met Hugo, it was like we and him have had conversations about this.
Mm.
I felt as if Cupid hit me with an arrow when I saw Hugo. For me, it really was like love at first sight. The moment I laid eyes on him, I knew who he was because of Twitter. We had talked, but I had never spoken to him in person before. And I remember seeing him, and I was with my friend. I was like, oh my God, I like him. I told Val he's going to be my boyfriend. Like, that's how confident I was that I was going to make him my boyfriend.
Just put a curse on me, guys.
And and it's funny because we started texting the next day, messaging on Snapchat, and one of the first things he hit me with was like, what are your hobbies? What do you do for fun? Because he did photography. He liked going hiking. You know, he had all these extracurricular activities that were very creative.
Hence the ADHD.
Yeah, the videography, like you just did so many things already. And he just asked me, like, what do you do? And I remember telling him, like, oh, I don't do much. I like to read, which is not a lie. I did like to read. And I remember one of the things you told me, you were like, damn, you need more hobbies. And I was like, what?
Did I say that?
You did. You said, damn, you need more hobbies. Not like in a fucked up way, but you said it.
Okay, damn, because if I said it like that, god damn.
No, you responded, because I don't remember the entirety of what I said, you know, but I remember along the lines saying, like, I didn't really do much, you know.
I
just partied, and I think I said, oh, I just like to party and go out. Like, I don't even remember what the fuck I said. And I was like, but I like to read, you know. I didn't really, other than partying and drinking and going out with my friends, there wasn't much else I did on my free time, you know. I was in college at the time, so I did like to read for fun, but I also did read a lot for school. So for me, my extracurriculars and like were partying and going out, because my grind, I guess, was school and working.
That's wild.
And I told him that I read, and that I don't remember if I told you at the time. I don't remember. I don't remember if I told you at the time that I liked to write poetry. But you guys, I told him that I wrote poetry at some point. And I never really did. It was just me trying to seem appealing to him, because I knew he was interested in people that probably had more creative outlets, and I didn't have any. So I thought, I'm a good reader. I'm a good writer. I could write poetry. And I had this book, and I remember I came up with some poems that were actually pretty fucking good. And in that moment, I realized that I was good at writing poetry. But it didn't start because I was genuinely interested in writing poetry. It was all just to impress this dude right here.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck out to me, because I feel like there's so much I want to say about why I did that.
Say it.
I don't feel ashamed about it. That's not, I'm saying it. But it's just funny not funny. It's interesting what women will do to get attention. And I don't say that in a bad way. Yeah. You know, even men do it too, I guess. But speaking from a female perspective, you know, it's almost feels like performative. Like we have to perform in a sense, because, you know, I'm trying to appeal to you. And I don't know if you ever did that with me. I don't know if you ever.
The performing aspect. I did have my own performing aspect.
And they look different for you, you know?
Yeah. For me, it was being affectionate.
Oh,
like that aspect was like very because I didn't know how, and you know, I didn't grow up with that.
It was a struggle. So that was something we would fight about a lot.
Yeah. The relationship with myself wasn't all that good back then, so it was very hard to be affectionate or loving with anyone outside of me. You know?
Definitely.
So,
and that to me was, I internalized that because I had a father growing up who wasn't affectionate. And I didn't realize it at the time, how that having a partner that wasn't affectionate was triggering that wound that I had from childhood, of having a parent that felt absent and there physically, but, you know, in all the other ways I needed him to be a dad for me, he was not. And it's funny, that saying, you date your parents. You do. You most likely, everyone watching this has been in a relationship, and you can say, I see my dad in this person, or I see my mom in this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of my mom in me. Like when I get triggered so much by my mom because I see a lot of who she is in me, that stuff I've picked up after her. And I see a lot of Hugo. I see a lot of my dad in you. So it's funny that you and I ended up together, because in a sense I'm kind of like, I replayed my parents' dynamic. Our relationship replayed their dynamic.
Yeah.
And at the time we didn't realize it. You know, we were young. I was 18 when I met you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 25 now. I've grown and learned so much. But when I think back on the lies, you know, like writing poetry, I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to lie and go the extra mile when, if I was confident and had love for myself and felt like I was enough, deserving of affection and deserving of a great person, by just being me, I would have never lied, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the time I didn't know that I didn't feel that way about myself. I thought I did.
We were completely unaware.
I thought I loved myself. I thought I deserved someone good, but my actions weren't aligned with what I thought I felt about myself, because I really didn't. And yeah, so it led me to lie about that and lie about other things, and not, and things that weren't like crazy, but just like the poetry thing is like the main example for me that always stands out, because I was good at it, thank God. Imagine if I sucked at it. I would have been sending you over like, poetry.
It says,
you'd have been like, girl. You'd have been like, girl, maybe you should find another hobby. But yeah, like it was all a performative of me to try to get that love, you know, that I thought I lacked.
Yeah.
That I thought that if I did enough, I would get validation that I'm good enough.
Yeah.
You know? And to have you as a boyfriend, because we were just one day in getting to know each other. You know?
That's wild.
And it's crazy. One day in, and I'm already lying about who I am. You know.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that I think about, that if I could go back to myself at the time and be like an older sister to myself, I would tell her, you don't have to do that. Like, in the sense of, I know you want a boyfriend, you know, because growing up, I've always told you that for me, one of the biggest factors, I guess, I would play into the idea of me romanticizing the relationship that I wanted us to have had to do with, I just grew up watching so many love movies, love shows, novelas, you know, songs, and my mom always telling me, I can't wait to marry a good man that's rich, which is another story for another day.
She put that image in your head, huh?
Of just like romanticizing being with someone, and not just her, but like because of media as well.
Yeah.
Damn. I always felt, I wasn't aware of it, but I remember thinking back to that age that I always just wanted love. I always wanted a boyfriend. I always felt like, you know, just I wanted to be in love with someone. And I felt when I met you that this is like my chance. So I felt like I wasn't, and I didn't feel it, but because I was lying, I wasn't aware of it. But by the lying, I feel that showed that I didn't feel I was deserving of it by being who I am and whatever, you know? And if I could go back, I would tell her, I don't know how I would, but I wish that I could somehow get to me, in the sense of, why not, instead of trying to find a man, find myself.
Yeah.
You know? Because that energy that I was putting out to try to get you, of like, oh, I write poetry or whatever, that's energy I could have been putting in towards myself, you know, in actually going out and trying to find myself, trying to find hobbies, trying to be creative or be more feminine, because I was very in my masculine energy at the time too, and I didn't know it either. But just spend more time with myself. I guess that's what I would say. And getting to know myself and who I am. What do I like? What do I not like? What opinions or thoughts do I have that I align with? What values do I align with? What morals do I have? What is my idea, or what do I want my future to look like? You know, just all these things about myself. Because then you're going to get into a relationship and then the struggles start. You know, me and you got into a relationship, and for me, one of the struggles in our relationship was not knowing who I was and not being able to be without you. I was so dependent on
Both of us were
you.
very
Yeah, we're
codependent. Yeah.
codependent in our ways, you know, but for me, you had your hobbies, you know, so if you didn't see me for a week, you were perfectly fine because you would go hiking, you had your videography, your photography, you had your friends, and so you had, and you had your job, you know, you had your, not maybe figured out what you want to do forever, but you had your habits, you had your you were disciplined in what you did at the time, you know. And for me, I was just, I didn't have, I had to work in school, but I had a lot of free time. And in a sense, I avoided myself by trying to occupy all my time with you. And I became very dependent on you. And I would become upset when you weren't meeting all my needs.
Yeah.
But that wasn't your responsibility, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they say, like, happiness is an inside job. And
yeah, it is.
A partner should just add to it. They shouldn't be your whole world, your whole happiness, because that's big of a burden to put on someone's shoulders, and an impossible one, really, because even if there was, well, there's not a perfect person in the world, but even if there was someone near perfect in this world, even that person could not fulfill all your needs. It's just impossible for another human being to do that because we're not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of perfect can be different to every single person.
And
so
that,
like there
that
really is
too.
no true perfection.
Yeah,
I
even that
think,
too. Even that too. So, yeah, I just, you know, obviously I don't regret anything. You know, we're here now. We're amazing co-parents. We love our son, and he's a beautiful little angel that came out of this. And
amazing little boy, yeah.
And we know better now, and I feel like this is knowledge that we are going to be able to give our son to have a better, I guess, just a better life, you know, because I know, um just one of the thoughts that I have for myself when it comes to healing and having better habits, it's for me, but as a parent, I also want better for my son. And if there's unnecessary baggage that I can avoid him from having, why not? You know, because I know that a lot of what I do and say, and the examples that I set for him is what is going to make him into the person he is. Just how I have a lot of my mom in me and my dad in me that I see a lot is bad, sadly, you know, things that I'm ashamed of that I'm trying to work on. I don't want, if there's things like that that I can avoid my son getting from me because I healed, why not? You know, I want to heal so that he can have, if he doesn't have to carry extra stuff, why? He shouldn't, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what breaking the cycle is. That's what you hear in church. You know,
it's the hardest thing ever.
It is. And then, you know, in church, they say, you know, break generational trauma. They say break the chains, you know, that's the term, the phrase.
But they never say how, though. They just say do it. Break the chains.
They say leave it to God, you know, which is good. I feel like it is important to have a relationship with the higher being, whatever that looks like to you.
I never understood that because growing up, I would take things literal, you know. So like when they said leave it to God, I was like, do I just sit here like do nothing, you know? But now I can translate that as like, you know, leave it to God can be like just be in the present moment, like you focus on right here. If you're right here, you're gonna get shit done, you know. Because if you're sitting here thinking about like I should have done this or I should be doing this or I'm gonna do this, and you're not here anymore.
You're not here anymore, and only in the present can you actually do something about it. If you can do something about it, and if you can't, then leave it to God. And I feel like it's that saying, it says worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but it's not going to get you there in the same spot. It's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah.
And I feel when I think about leave it to God, to me it looks like get off that rocking chair. Yep. Because it's giving you something to do, but you're not going anywhere. And if you're not going to go anywhere and you can't do anything about it, leave it to God. Because you never know, he has his ways. God says don't worry about the how, because there's an infinite ways of how things can get done. You don't have to know how. You don't have to know how it's gonna get done. I'll worry about that.
I've heard I forgot who it was, but someone some wise man on TikTok, he said it's not about the how in life, it's about the why, which is our intentions. I feel like the point of life is for us to figure out what our intentions are, you know,
Yeah.
because we could be doing like drinking, we could be doing really good things, healthy, unhealthy things, but it all comes down to the why. It's
Mm-hmm.
always the why, you know? You want to help someone and record it, put it on YouTube, cool, but why? Like, why do you need to record it? Why, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what like it eventually comes down to.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a wild thought too. But I also want to go back to when you were talking about how, you know, you started to question your old self of when you and I met.
Mm-hmm.
Um like although you were saying all those things, like I saw like the positive side in that as well, because like if we hadn't met each other,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't have today's knowledge, you know?
Definitely.
And for anyone struggling through a relationship, what got us through the struggle was literally introspecting and deep, tough conversations all the time. And I feel like introspection is so beautiful because you can look back and actually ask questions, and you can actually answer them now, because now that the past is now considered a tool,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And the thing that a lot of us um mix up with the past, like being a tool, is that I start to identify with it, you know? We start to identify with that tool, with the past, rather than like seeing it as a tool and
Like
saying,
a
okay,
learning
this isn't
tool.
me, but this is a lesson. I can use this to do this and
Yeah.
this and this today, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like the whole poetry thing, um, it might have started by trying to impress you, but it turned out to be something I'm really good at.
Exactly. You see?
Yeah.
And then you, like, one thing I admire about you the most is like your ability to speak, and like I don't know, I've always been one to be like, I want to be able to talk and perform, blah blah blah, you know? And like the more time I spend with you, the more I feel comfortable talking, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And with you is like, you know, you feel more comfortable being in your creative
Mm-hmm.
energy and all that.
Yeah.
So I think that's like one really cool thing that we got out of the relationship.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. There was a lot of good
Hell yeah.
that came from it.
And you know, like one wild thought that I had throughout the relation, or at least recently, is like, are aliens gonna invade us pretty soon?
Am I
It's been
dating
on
an
my
alien?
mind,
Have
man.
you been an alien this whole time?
Yeah, because haven't you seen all like the UFO stuff going on like TikTok, and like the CIA is releasing all these things?
So I saw somebody post, I think, shout out to Todo Chido,
Mm.
this podcast. My friends, they posted a clip and they were talking about Project Bluebeam, and they were talking
Oh,
about how that is supposedly a plan that the government has to set up an invasion by aliens on the world to kind of scare everybody and unite everybody under one world government. Um, and I feel as though that might be a little true just because I try to look at what's being released in the media movie wise.
movies.
And there have been in the recent years a lot like Avatar, Wakanda Forever, Luca. There's been a lot of depictions of um aliens or like what like underwater beings, specifically like blue people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, in there's been spaceships seen coming out of underwater at a very
Yeah,
fast rate.
yeah, going
So
in and
it's
out.
like maybe these underwater beings have advanced technology and are blue and aliens, and are the aliens if they are from Earth? Maybe they've just been hiding this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I don't know. How do you feel about aliens invading us?
I kind of want to say what's up to them, dude.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, I mean, if these aliens,
Wanted to hurt us, they would have done it already, huh?
yeah, they're so advanced, like they would have done it. But I feel like whoever's in charge, whoever's in power, like on top of the pyramid, like, cause I forgot, I saved this like picture of a pyramid where there's like corporations, or like there's
Mm-hmm.
people like workers
Mm-hmm.
and corporations, and
Mm-hmm.
then blah blah blah, it keeps going up, and it eventually gets to the tip, and it's literally, it just says like council of 12 or some shit. Like it's just
The
like,
12 most powerful families in the world.
yeah, and it comes down to family, like
Mm-hmm.
bloodlines, and
Uh-huh.
a part of me feels like there's a bloodline that comes down from, like, I don't know, like Egypt or something, like kings, you know,
Mm-hmm.
kings, and they kept that bloodline going. But something about the keeping the bloodline going is they say there's like a lot of extraterrestrial, like DNA within like the blood. Like they call these people like Nephilims, like giants. And there's like a whole video on TikTok of this guy who was in the CIA or some shit, but he was in an interview and he was telling them like, yeah, I went to this underground base and like the first thing they told me was to not mention Jesus Christ. Like, do not mention Jesus Christ.
What?
Just don't. And he went in and he said that these giants were like what, like 12 feet or something around there, but that they literally like reached out to him and they're like, yeah, we are the Nephilims. But the thing about them is that they the way that he described it is that they think that we are about to enter a spiritual war and they think that they are going to win the war.
The Nephilims think that?
Yeah, but the spiritual war is like where, like, you know, these people are the ones who are controlling humans, like working and all this bullshit, you know, like money and everything, keeping us under stress. And what they said is that they're gonna do these crazy projections in the sky, which is what Elon Musk is like doing with his, you know, those drones that they do at raves, and it looks real.
It looks
but
real.
that they're sending a shit ton of them up in the sky, and it's gonna be so many that it's gonna look like a real depiction of like a big
ship or something,
ship or a big god or a big something, an image of a human or an alien or something that might trick people into, like, you know, like in movies, like how like the big bad guy pops up in the sky.
Kind of like the Antichrist, you know how they say before God comes back, it's gonna be a fake Antichrist and he's gonna be good supposedly and help the people and fool the people.
So like Syndrome, like from in the Incredibles, the Syndrome, he's just a kid who grew up like angry, right? He grew up angry and he created this big ass robot, scary ass robot to create destruction for him to just come in and pretend that he defeated his own robot and to claim that he's a hero.
He's a hero.
So I feel like that is what's going on.
Oof.
And through over, I mean,
and I don't know what my uncle, he's Christian, but he is a huge man. Well, his whole life was a huge man of faith in the Christian community, but he recently strayed away from a lot of the ideas of the Christian faith because he met another, I don't know if they call themselves Christians. I think they do, but they include the book of Enoch in their Bible, which is a book deleted out of the Bible, I guess. It's like a portion of it? A portion that was taken out. I guess the version of King James has that book in it. And they were like educating my uncle, and one of the things my uncle mentioned were these Nephilims, and he actually brought them up to me about these giants who were real, because when God threw out the angels from heaven that were disobeying him, they came to earth, and these fallen angels were they were getting involved with women that were human, so they crossed DNA and created these giants, i.e. the Nephilims, but they're not natural beings. They are their human DNA mixed with angel like DNA, well, fallen angel DNA, you know, people that weren't of God because they were casted out of heaven for being disobedient. And that's just, I mean, I hope I'm not butchering the details, but that's what I remember. That's what my uncle was telling me. So the fact that you're saying right now that this man saw them and he wasn't allowed to say the word Jesus Christ is very telling of, is there a God that is going to come back for his people one day? There is spiritual warfare, and I've heard that a long time. Is spiritual warfare, is that representation for, does that mean that they are fighting for our souls? You know, does the fight have to do with our souls being tainted or being swayed to Jesus Christ and God?
I have like a personal theory, because just through like psychedelics and the meditations and shit, like I feel like I've had like, even on a psychedelic, I've had a dream of like being in front of a giant or some shit, you know. I didn't think anything of it, but now I'm just connecting dots. I'm like, why did I dream that on a psychedelic, you know? But I feel like I forgot what I was gonna say.
Your dream of psychedelics, a theory about, is the spiritual warfare, the fight for our souls, a fight for souls to go with God, Jesus Christ, or for souls to go to hell?
Yeah.
I don't know if hell's real, but
I'd say with this, I say fucking Earth is hell. Like, when everyone's suffering, there's horrible suffering here. But I feel like so my personal theory is souls, right? We generate energy. We are naturally supposed to be these beings with like mystical like abilities, like naturally, you know?
Yeah, raw vibration. And it's already been proven that we are made of energy,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
vibration.
Yeah, and they did this experiment of a plant. They put it in a dark room with one spotlight, right? The spotlight is able to point wherever it wants at random. And for some reason, wherever they put this plant, over time, the spotlight would literally like follow the plant, and they would randomly place the plant. So the point is that like this plant is able to manifest, right? It's able to, with intention, is able to
call for the light,
get the light to come to where it's at.
Because
So
it needs light.
yeah, and that's just a plant. So us with the consciousness, like we are capable of doing insane things, you know? Like,
and you know what? Sorry to cut you off, but just I want to say a quick thought before you continue.
Yeah.
If we are these souls that are capable of so much, and we emit energy, and based on the choices that we make and the frequency that we're on, we're able to give off good energy or bad energy. And you know, what if these like aliens or people in power that are bad, if aliens, I'm not saying aliens are bad, but people in power that are bad, what if they want us to be giving off bad energy because they feed off of the negative energy? Like negative entities feed off of the negative energy.
Like low vibrations.
Low vibrations, yeah. And they want us to be in a low state, to keep using us for whatever. For humans, it might be keep using us for money, for greed, for power, to live off of our backs. Because they wouldn't be able to have money and power if we didn't give it to them, off our labor, off our hours, our time, you know? And that's what the fight is for. Do you think? Like for our energy? Because if we had good energy, our vibration was high, we would all realize that we don't need these 9 to 5s. We don't need these jobs. We don't need, you know, these.
A lot of the things that are offered to us in general, we
alcohol,
don't need.
like bad, like drugs, like.
We don't need any of that, really. Yeah.
We don't need anything.
And there's this term that I learned today. It's called like zoo. I forgot, but it's like a term saying that like animals when they live in the zoo for so long, they're technically brainwashed because it's just like a repeated um day after day, like it's the same thing every single day, so they kind of forget what their true nature is, you know. They forget where they belong. And that's apparently what's going on with us. Like we're being farmed, like in the Matrix, you know. Like everyone's asleep in like their little capsules, and they're like in this dream world, you know. And I feel like they're kind of like generating our energy for them to create whatever they want to create. So in a sense, we are like their batteries. And imagine like you putting batteries in something, and then the batteries just eventually become conscious. Like, no, what the fuck? Like,
we're not gonna. And that makes sense, because rich people wouldn't be rich if there weren't people like us doing all the hard labor, you know. Who's running the fast food chains? Who's running the stores? Like people shop at clothes and shoes and car shops, like
that are found all over the world. Like what?
The warehouse jobs. Like who these are all like jobs, you know. Even the higher end jobs, you know, like record labels, and you know, we're moving into Hollywood, making movies, and every other entertainment business,
political jobs, like,
you know, all the political jobs.
like,
who gets to pretend to have real power? Because I know that the president doesn't hold any real power. They are just puppets in a bigger game.
Yeah, that's a whole puppet.
So it's like there's all these jobs, you know, all ego driven. Not, I don't want to say the little ones, but more like the political ones. I feel like are more ego driven because they get a sense of power. Like police get a sense of power. I feel like that's another.
Police are slaves themselves, like brainwashed slaves.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
no offense.
No offense. Yeah, no, it's just, and not in the. Not to like bash or anything,
this
but
isn't
in a
sense,
in a sense, we are all slaves, you know, because if we are the batteries, we are the backbone, you know. We are the farmers. Even if we didn't have farmers, we didn't have food. We would have no food. Like that, we are the backbone of whatever is being created on Earth, you know. And we do have the power to really. I truly do think that if everybody woke up tomorrow and said, all right, nobody's going to go to work. Like every single person on the planet said, we're done with this whole 9 to 5. No one's going to work. Like in a week.
Like what would happen, you know?
And what do you think the people in power would do in a week? Of them noticing that the whole world just stopped working.
What would
and
they
we
do,
demanded, and we demanded at least livable wages. Like, because obviously we have to work, you know. We're not everybody could be farmers. Not everybody could be, you know, I mean, people could be self-sustainable if they wanted to, but we're in an age where people do want to have things easy. You know, people
Yeah.
would rather pay to have things done or given to them than for them to do it themselves, which is valid. You know, it's the era that we're in.
Yeah, yeah.
But at
Technology.
least demand, you know, livable wages, free health care, clean air and water, things that should be basic human rights, you know,
Mm-hmm.
at this point. But I feel like we, like you said, we've all just been brainwashed, like the zoo analogy you gave. We've
Mm-hmm.
been in this cage for so long. We believe this is the way things are, and we forget our inherent value and what we can really do as
Yeah.
people
Mm-hmm.
if we came together.
Mm-hmm. And it just goes back to us like being those spiritual beings, and
Yeah.
like these essentially like whatever is using us as batteries, essentially they're like leeches, like in the nature of the cosmos, you know.
Yeah.
And for us, like here, like a leech here is like, oh, you know, that shit's sucking my blood.
It's stuck
Let me
onto
just.
you and it
But
sucks
it's
that.
yeah, but it's still a part of nature. It's the part of balance of nature. So
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's like even though all that shit is going on, it's still part of like the balance of
The
the
yin and
cosmos.
yang, there has to be good in
There's
order to be
always
bad.
there always has to be a good and a bad,
Yeah.
and because of that, there's always balance, and you can't create without destruction.
Yeah.
So it's like there always has to be a balance. So now it's like with that in mind, it's like, okay, now what do I do? You know what?
Mm-hmm.
All this shit's going down, but all at the same time, all this good stuff is going down. Like
Yeah.
what?
And
You know?
I feel like I when I used to think about that question, what can I do? I used to get frustrated because I used to think that I had to do something in the outside world, you know, like I had to go out and be an activist and protest and spread awareness and
Mhm.
things like that, which are all good things if you do them. But I feel like the best thing you can do is look at your inner world,
Yeah.
because only from within can you manifest real change. You know, if you are good internally and you heal and you let go of a lot of vibrations that are negative and bringing you down, not only is that going to help you elevate, but it's going to attract good for you, and not just attract good for you, but you're going to be able to give that good energy to the people around you.
Hmm.
And I feel like just in that sense, if you give good, it's gonna rub off on other people. You
Yeah.
know, just
Yeah.
how like that analogy of like you are who you hang out with, right?
Yeah.
You've noticed that when maybe you'd want to stop drinking, but then you go hang out with friends who all drink, and then it's gonna be very likely you're gonna give in and you're gonna drink
Hmm.
because that energy is rubbing off on you.
Hmm.
So, and a lot of people I feel like will want to argue, well, like, oh, then you're just not strong willed, or, you know, you just, you know, things like that, which I get that point too. Like if you really don't want to drink, just don't drink.
Like setting the boundary.
Yeah, which
Hmm.
I can also see that argument.
Hmm.
But the truth of the matter is, well, like a better analogy, I guess. Like you get into a relationship, and then what you, without knowing it, you start picking up on mannerisms that your partner
Yeah.
does. Like
Yeah.
you live with them 24/7, you're around them 24/7. And then you wake up one day and you're like, "Oh, like I said that the way my boyfriend says
Why
it.
am I laughing like them
Why
now?
am I laughing like that now?" Or why do I eat this now? And like my partner, like I don't really even like it, but now my partner, like I like it now because my
Got me
partner,
into
like
it, like
yeah, you
into
know,
the
it's like
show.
things rub off on you whether you like it or not.
Mm.
And I feel like it's that same, if you know, if it's a fact that you rub off on people, especially the five people that are closest to you, um, then I'm assuming that by you working on yourself and giving better, that better is also going to spread off on like on the people around you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's this one quote that I saw one time when this guy said, "Show me the five people closest to you and I'll tell you who you are."
Damn.
And when he said that, I was like, fuck. And I feel like and I started thinking about the five people closest to me,
Me too.
and I was like, that's actually pretty spot on, because
Yeah.
the five people closest to me, I think about their traits and
Hmm.
how they are, how they carry themselves, and from those five people, you can put me together.
Yeah.
You
Like
can pull stuff
take
from
bit
them, yeah, and you can definitely put me
like
together.
create a
Yeah, you
clone.
can create literally. So I was like, wow, that was insane to me.
Yeah, and there's that other quote: "As within, so without; as above, so below." Day and night, yin and yang. Like you know, like whatever you feel inside is what's gonna come out. You know, and
Hmm.
how you were saying earlier, like we gotta show ourselves the love to you know
Be able to
to
give the love.
experience the love. You know, and to
Hmm.
be able to give it
And to be able to
in the whole
see it.
world. Yeah.
I feel like if you go through life saying I'm unlovable, not worthy of love, or I don't deserve love, or or I don't have love, your brain is always gonna just look for those examples to show you, to reinforce what you believe.
Yeah. And like during these times, it's the best time to really introspect. Like I'm
Winter
speaking
time.
like,
Winter
yeah.
time.
Well, not just winter time. I'm talking about like with everything that's going on in the world. Like on TikTok, there's like a mass awakening. Like there's so many random people just talking about like, oh yeah, like spirituality, this and this. But like everyone's talking about it now, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, it's really cool.
Um, AI is taking over too, dude. AI is insane. What
I'm
is it?
I'm
Mm,
guilty of using AI.
What do you use it for? Because I know you don't use it necessarily for what.
I use what's it called? Um, it's the one on Discord. But I just create art with it.
So you like type in types of
Yeah, I type in
keywords and phrases?
yeah, I type in a prompt and then I just kind of like type in anything that I can imagine in a photo, like kind of just describe it
Mm-hmm.
and it'll just create the image.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been creating a bunch of those on my other page on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to find the, cause
What is it
Saul
called?
sent me one. It's practically an AI that you can type anything in it, like explain algebra to me, and it'll answer any
Mid
question,
Journey.
or you can tell it, can you, like, I have this work experience, make a resume for me. It'll make a resume for you. Or how do you put a Toyota Camry transmission together, and it'll like step by step tell you how to do it.
So
Or
any general thing, like
anything that you can find on Google, pretty much,
it like speaks it to you
it
pretty
can
much. Eh?
it can walk you through it. Like,
That's wild.
or how do I fight this, like, thesis, or like if you want like to be a lawyer, like how do I, you can ask it any question, write this essay for me, it'll write an
Mm.
essay for you.
Oh, I've seen that one. Yeah, the
It's
whole essay
practically like
thing.
a Google in like a person form,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's like a brain pretty much, and you can ask it anything, ask it to do anything, make anything for you, like a whole like business plan. It'll tell you,
Damn.
it'll write it out, it'll tell you how to execute it, how to make money, like, dude, it's, and this
It.
is just the first version of it, and in
Oh
the
my
years to
gosh.
come it's gonna develop even more. And I
It's gonna
was,
be like a whole physical being,
maybe, I don't know if in that sense, who knows, maybe
like a robot,
maybe the idea is to put that AI into a robot.
Yeah.
Maybe it
I mean, like,
is
haven't you seen I think it's called iRobot with
iRobot.
Will
Yeah, that's
Smith? Like,
crazy. Or Ex Machina, isn't that a movie too?
yeah, I've
um
never seen it though.
you should watch it. We should watch it.
Yeah, I'm
I
down.
heard that it was, I haven't seen it, but I heard Joe Rogan talking about it. And he mentioned something about how in that movie it was a scientist who developed an AI, and he didn't realize that the AI was gaining more awareness on its own time, and then that AI fell in love with him.
Oh,
And
I think I've seen it then.
yeah, and it started doing
She
things.
like bald or something?
I don't know. I honestly, I think I've heard of the movie. I don't remember what it looked like, but
Uh-huh.
he was talking about how Joe Rogan was like, I'm genuinely like freaked out about what this new technology means for the world, because we are already in an era where we're on our phones so much already. We are on our phones way too much. You know, we're not already connecting with each other as human beings, with nature, the way we're meant to.
Mm-hmm.
But this AI now is gonna take away from us having to be critical thinkers. We're not gonna no longer have to do anything or think hard for
Yeah.
ourselves, because everything is gonna be done for us. And like the person who was interviewing like even made a comment like yeah, like people are not even gonna have to worry about doing homework anymore, because they're just gonna freaking like get all the answers like on this like AI. And it's like, that's just like one tiny thing, like, you know. And they even mentioned like, what if in the future this people are gonna fall in love with AI, like the movie Her, you know, because this is
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
like a person talking to you. It's
Yeah.
gonna mimic like conversations, and it's gonna give you responses that even have emotion and have critical thinking, and it's gonna have critical thinking skills. It's gonna have emotions. It's gonna have logical thinking. It's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
able to answer you in a way that a human being will. And
To
he
depict the
doesn't doubt,
emotion and
yeah, and
everything is
he
wild
doesn't doubt that people are gonna start falling in love with these things.
with
Like the movie Her.
technology.
You seen the movie Her?
Yeah.
He falls in love with his computer. And that's insane to me, because it's just insane.
He
Like,
even got busy with her too. Like,
And Joe
That's so
Rogan was
crazy.
saying he feels like this is gonna be part of, we're heading towards humans being just how, the fallen angels started um having sex with women and creating their own,
Oh, there's gonna be like
a
another
cross between human and robots, or human and like
like a
artificial
humanoid, like
intelligence.
a
Yeah, like a humanoid, kind of like what
damn.
everyone's like afraid of, like being chipped, and like, we're gonna be chipped and we're gonna have all these things. And what if this is setting the stage for people to become a little too comfortable with technology in that sense,
Yeah,
that we're not gonna mind it becoming a part of our physical bodies?
yeah. I heard this theory on TikTok where this guy was saying that we're pretty much being farmed for our energy, our knowledge, everything through AI. And that's why, like, for example, how I type in prompts, right, for to create art. I feel like the more art I create, the more this AI is learning about my mind. Like,
Yes,
what
about
what
how
is
human
what
works.
does this person's imagination work like? And not
Yeah.
only that, there's thousands and thousands of people entering and creating art through their own imagination. So the AI is learning what imagination
Is
is.
through us, of
Yeah,
course.
through
And how
us.
many people have not already used that? And not just that, but even the one that kind of freaked me out was the one where everybody was paying to get artificial
I pay for that shit. Yeah.
pictures generated of how they would look like in like a, what kind of style was it? Like a
It was I think it was just random styles,
raw
but
versions of you.
yeah,
And I feel like that was low key a way for them to get
like a scan of
a
your
scan
face
of
or
your
something.
face,
Yeah.
a scan
But they
of
already do that when
different kinds of humans though.
true.
Um,
I
like
think
this one girl who's like a streamer on Twitch was like super upset because an AI generated pictures of her naked with her face.
oh, I thought that was like illegal or something.
If it is, why did they do it?
That's true, yeah.
And that's one of the concerns that Joe Rogan was talking about. I forgot who his guest was, but that's one of the things that the developers of AI are really worried with right now.
Mhm.
They're developing AI because they believe in the goodness of it, but they also believe in the negative side of what AI can mean. Because what if someone searches, how do I dispose of a body? Or how am I able to kill a person and not be detected? Or how can I flee the country?
That is
How can
true.
I
I didn't
how
think
can I
about that.
cut some brakes out of a car? It's like, it's not just gonna be answering
For
good questions.
malintentions, they'll be
It's
using
gonna
for
be answering questions that have malintentions too.
damn. So then the AI is gonna be learning the dark side and the light side
Yes.
of a
Just
human
like
mind.
just like anything that has duality, everything has a good and a bad.
Damn. So it's like we're gonna be looking at corrupt AI in the future.
It could be a thing, and the developers are worried about that, and they're trying to find ways to counteract that. And Joe Rogan made a funny joke. He was like, "Yeah, it's funny they're worried about that while they're developing this AI." Kind of saying like, if that's a possibility, why develop it?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need it. We don't need an AI. We already have Google, bitch. Is that enough? Like, just Google it,
We already have our phones
Our
like
phone is already
our
enough.
phone is already disconnecting us from
Enough.
our natural ability to maneuver through the world, you know? Because
Yes.
if we didn't have
We're
our
so
phones,
dependent on it.
yeah, if we didn't have our phones, we'd learn how to get around. Like we'd learn like,
I'm a I wholeheartedly believe that I suck so bad with my sense of direction because I've since day one have
dependent
depended
on them.
on GPS on my
Yeah.
phone. Because I've never had to pay attention to streets or anything because I've always just been looking at my screen the whole
Follow the
time.
blue line.
Follow the blue line. Exactly. So it's like,
Yeah.
and it's crazy to me that, and this is still very new. AI is still very,
Yeah.
very new. It's still a baby. There's still more versions of this AI are gonna keep coming out, more advanced, like kind of like iPhones. They keep dropping new each year.
Siri
It's gonna,
was like the first one probably,
yeah,
huh?
it's gonna, this AI that's what the podcast Joe Rogan was saying, that this AI is gonna be, new versions are gonna be being dropped in the years to come. And he's like, and I'm scared. Like, I'm scared for what this is gonna look like
Hmm.
for the rest of the world. And it's just insane.
They're not gonna need humans anymore because once AI can do everything that humans
Everything.
can plus more, they're gonna be like, all right, humans,
You
let's take
exactly.
this civilization to the next level, you know?
Imagine,
Because
dude.
there's like different types of civilizations, right? There's like a type one, type two.
Yeah.
I think we're like type one or fucking I don't know what. But I know like the future ones are gonna be like AI, like through computer form or something, you know?
Do you feel that? Do you feel like we're gonna live to see that? Because I mean, it's very possible that you and I are gonna be able to get to the year 3000, God willing. We could get to the year 3000.
We can.
We can.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think by the year 3000 things are gonna look drastically different than what they look now?
Hell yeah! I mean, like we're in 2023 right now, and 2000 the world we like this wasn't the same world.
Yeah.
You know, like everything completely changed. So you can imagine
even technology
another
wise,
80
it's
years.
crazy.
Yeah.
How much technology has just developed.
The iPhone itself was like one of the craziest things that
Yeah.
I've ever seen, like coming into like the 2000s.
Yeah.
And people actually thought like when we hit 2000, like the world was gonna end or something.
Right, 2022 or 2012.
2012. Yeah, no, but like there was also a thing when we hit 2000.
Oh,
it was
really?
gonna be there was gonna be some crazy shit. Yeah, but I don't know. That's wild.
It's funny when it was New Year's so it could become 2012. I remember feeling scared.
Oh yeah.
I did feel a little scared. Like, oh my god.
How old were we?
I was like starting high school.
I was like 16.
Yeah, I was starting high school.
15.
I remember feeling and thinking like, is the world gonna end? Like, what if in the following days, like, there's gonna be like a huge earthquake or God's gonna come and take us all? Like, just things like that.
I haven't even experienced high school yet. Oh my god.
Like, oh God, please take me. Fuck it. I was like, I don't want to do high school. No, but yeah, it was a worry of mine at the time, and it's just funny because that's all just fear mongering from the world.
Mm-hmm.
Of the world ending and from religions and everything.
Yeah, I feel like that random spike in fear within like the collective caused some type of shift or something, like because people talk about like jumping timelines and all these things, and I'm just like, what if like in 2012 like we didn't necessarily die or nothing, but like there was a major shift within like quantum I don't know what you call that,
like we moved into another realm.
Yeah, like like another like timeline, I guess. Yeah, because do you ever feel like well, because like sometimes I'll be like driving, right, and then randomly I'll be like, oh dang, like I could have crashed right here, but I could like in my head I could
imagine the whole crash,
picture it happening, but I'm still driving.
Yeah, that's happened to me.
In a sense, it's like, what if in that moment
another version of me did crash?
Yeah, it's like there was like a split, and I like every choice that I've made up to now caused me to go to the way that I don't crash,
Yeah, like the show wild. Loki.
Yeah.
When what was it Loki or was it Ant-Man? The Quantum Mania, where they talked about how there's when he's trying to get to the center of the energy ball thingy, and there's like a bunch of mutating different versions of him happening in that space, and they're explaining it that every thought of what you could do is a timeline of its own.
Yeah.
And it is being played out.
Every possible
outcome or thought or any possible action that you think you could take is manifesting in that moment.
Mm.
That's why he was having a million thoughts. That's where different versions of him are popping up, acting out those thoughts, And it's like what you just said right now. When you're driving and you have a thought of crashing and you can see it, maybe in a sense that. And yeah, like it reminds me of Loki, how it's like a strain, it's like one timeline, and they just see a bunch of tiny little timelines being
like branch
out.
Right?
Yeah, they're just branching out of that big timeline.
That's, I don't know, it's something crazy to think about though, like the whole timeline thing.
It's crazy to think that this is all just, we're like you and I just having this conversation right now about what all these things could mean, but we're not 100%. Well, I know a lot of things have been proven, and there's like people like a million times smarter than me that know more, but it's just sometimes I'm low-key excited when I think about dying. I do obviously get scared because I'm gonna leave people that I love behind, and I don't know how I'm gonna die, if it's gonna be painful or not, but I am excited to know. Like once I die, I'm gonna know what everything is. It's like I believe that when I die, my soul is gonna like just know what everything means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because once you're in that realm, like you kind of have like I would say like a basic understanding of everything that we're unable to comprehend as a human.
As a human. Yeah, like our thinking is so limited.
Yeah. And because of all of our beliefs that that are all over
our conditioning.
But I feel like if you're truly curious, if you're curious enough, you should definitely do an ayahuasca ritual. If
Oh,
you like,
fuck no. I'm
because
scared.
people say that ritual literally makes you experience life and death, and you come back and you're so like grateful for everything, you know.
Ego
And
death.
the ego death, yeah, it's the ego dying, like all your beliefs, everything just dying out, and you coming back as in like, kind of like the that nature of a child where you just love
Mm-hmm.
naturally, you know. You kind of like come back like that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm avoiding it because I don't feel called to it yet.
No, it has to call you for sure. Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that those are the kind of things that you do when you feel called to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because because I know you've suggested it to me many times,
I'm
and
always checking in.
yeah, I one of the biggest things is that I have, my panic attacks when I'm like even just high off weed when I get them.
Mm-hmm.
They feel so detrimental and terrible that I really do feel like I'm going to die in those moments, and it's the worst feeling on earth. And it's funny because I know physically it feels shitty. Like I feel like I'm dying physically, like like my heart is slowly just beating slower and slower, and I have to go breathing into manual mode because I can't breathe because I feel like I'm not getting enough air.
Yeah.
So physically I feel like I'm dying, but I feel like what makes it worse is my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
The way that my brain starts sending me like the worst negative thoughts about what's happening in that moment, and it makes the anxiety 10 times worse because not only is my body feeling like shit now, but it feels like my brain is scrambling to like survive.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah,
Like that SpongeBob meme where like they're all running in his brain, like everything's on
burning
fire, like
everything.
ah.
Yes, that's what my brain feels like in those
Yeah.
moments, and it makes it even worse.
Yeah.
And it's insane, and that's just off weed, and I feel like I just have to get to a point of learning to, I guess, accept that anxiety and find ways of when it happens now cope with it in a way that I can at least if not control my thoughts, at least be able to observe them in a way where I don't get taken over by them.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like once I get to a place where I can do that, I'll be willing to probably do like some shrooms. I'll start with some shrooms. Maybe I'll start
Yeah, shrooms.
microdosing instead of jumping right in
Mm-hmm.
because um I have this thought that if I do shrooms now with the mentality I have now, first off, knowing how bad anxiety is for me, because when I like the last two times that I've had anxiety, like when it's like panic mode, everything in me wanted to scream and yell and like throw myself around like a crazy person.
Yeah.
But it takes everything in me to not act like a crazy person because there's people around me and I don't want to come off like I'm a crazy bitch.
Is that when you're high,
Like
you
is she
said?
being possessed? Yeah.
Mm.
So it takes every ounce of me and it's exhausting to be freaking out, full freak out mode, but to physically have to just kind of
To mask it's
to
very
just
draining.
kind of just sit there and kind of just sit with the feeling instead of like tossing around and yelling, which is what I really want to do. I really
Mm-hmm.
want to actually yell and toss around when I feel that way.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that I have this thought that if I take shrooms and I, let's say, start tripping out really bad, I'm not going to be able to contain the screaming and the tossing around like if I'm being possessed. I'm not going to be able to stop myself from doing that because I imagine a trip on shrooms to be even worse just based off stories that I've heard. Like people have literally killed other people around them just being on a bad trip because whatever they heard or saw told them to kill this person and they did it. So it is something that you have to do in a safe space when I feel like you're truly ready because you don't know what you're gonna meet, especially if you take a high dose, or what's gonna be revealed to you. And I do feel like you have to be in a place where you're mentally strong and accepting and intentional to kind of accept whatever is gonna be revealed to you.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm not there yet.
Yeah, people who haven't, I'm not saying you, but people who
Yeah.
haven't fully come to terms with their past, with their story,
Mm-hmm.
will experience intense like visions and experiences when you do psychedelics, because essentially what it does, it just brings everything, like like a hologram. You click it and boom, everything,
Opens
so
up.
when you consume it, it's technically like everything inside
It
of your
opens you up.
story, everything you thought you knew is like out here, and you're looking, analyzing, and there's a lot of things that don't make sense. Like to me, there's a lot of things that came up that didn't make sense to me, because it didn't resonate with who I was, but this was a part of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, what is this then? I have to come to terms. I have to
Yeah.
accept. And one major thing that comes down to that I learned with doing psychedelics is learning to accept, learning to let go, and experiencing gratitude. Those three
Mm.
things are crucial. And to learn to accept is, I don't even know how to start to teach someone who doesn't know anything, but before I even came to this knowledge, like I didn't know how to accept or how to let go. Because when I had anxiety, I was like calling people. I was like, yo, I'm fucking dying. Like
Yeah.
my heart feels like it's gonna have a heart
Yeah,
attack. Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
God. But like that's that same way that you explained that you felt like you wanted to scream and yell and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should do,
Yeah.
because your body
It wants to release energy,
Yeah.
pent up, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
pent up.
your body in the moments of anxiety, it's just trying to, it's just stuff surfacing, like to like, to like the outer edge of your body, and all you need to do is
Just
shake it
wiggle.
off,
And it's so
stretch,
true.
work out, sing, dance, like anything, but it literally moves, like it
And
comes
that's
off.
so true, you guys, because one time I was panicking, and I don't know if I was on the phone with you or no, you were there in front of me. I think you pulled up on me because I was spazzing on the phone. So you're like, dude, I'm just gonna go, and you came to me, and we were sitting on my bed, and you were trying to calm me down, and I was telling you that I felt like I wanted to shake, like I wanted to move, like I felt like I was experiencing like so much like physical pain and mental fear because I was panicking so bad, and you were like, just shake. And I did start shaking and moving my body like crazy, and it did help. Like it did feel better, but then as soon as I stopped, it would like just hit me back again, like
Yeah,
panicking.
like the way I could picture anxiety is like, first of all, like what helped me get through anxiety is changing the idea of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's like, okay, trauma's coming up. I don't want this anymore, and I don't need this anymore. So let me do anything that gets it out for me,
Gets it out.
And now when I really sit on the feeling, I'm like, okay, I feel like I feel like I want to do this and this, but I feel like I'm not allowed to, I can imagine myself being what, like 7, right? And I did something that got my mom angry, so I run to my room. I'm like, fuck, okay, she's gonna come whip my ass right now. Oh my god, oh my god, And that's what the anxiety feels like, And my mom coming in and telling me, don't do this, blah blah blah. That is me telling me I'm not allowed to experience the anxiety, But say I were to run outside and like, I don't know, run away in a sense, like then I was able to fully process that, because I didn't let like the external control that the anxiety in that moment, So when I would experience anxiety, like these past like 3 years, only those memories would come up, so like a external voice trying to say, no, you can't experience this, like don't, you know and when I just let go, when I accept that, okay, this is happening to my body. Sometimes it's just excitement, but like moving is the number one way to just get it out. That you just
To
gotta move.
release like the
Yeah,
tension
because
and
we saw that video, right, of like a zebra getting attacked by a lion.
Oh my god, no, wasn't it a
But
deer?
no, it was like a zebra,
gazelle?
but a gazelle or something. I don't know, but like the point is that it got attacked, but it didn't die. Like the lion
Yes.
like left or something,
You
but it was there
guys,
on the
it was the
floor.
most it was, yeah, so practically what happened was, it was, let's just call it a zebra. I'm not sure if, I don't remember
It
if
was
it
it
was
was
a
a
zebra.
zebra.
A zebra?
Yeah, it was a zebra.
And it was a lion coming towards it, and I'm pretty sure the zebra felt scared as fuck. Like
No, it was already attacked. Like it had already attacked the zebra. It was like hurt and everything.
it was hurt,
Yeah.
but it was still alive.
Yeah, so he was just down. I forgot what happened, but the lion just left.
They left it. It didn't kill it.
Yeah, so the zebra was literally like, like kind of like
Frozen.
frozen
At
on the
first,
ground.
it was frozen. Like, you guys, the video, it's on it the whole time, and it's just stiff. It looks stiff. But eyes are blinking though. Its eyes are moving, so you know it's alive.
And then it just started to just like shiver out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
It was just shaking and shaking and shaking.
It was shaking uncontrollably.
And the person filming would just kept the camera on them, and they're just shaking, and like out of nowhere, after a few minutes, it just got up and walked away like nothing happened.
And it talked about how the human bodies do the same thing. the frozen part of the zebra, when it was still, it was internalizing
like shock
the
almost.
whole shock. It was storing it in the body in a sense of the traumatic experience it went through. And it released by shaking, by moving. But that's what humans don't do. They don't ever release. They don't ever let go. So that shock and the trauma stays in the body. And Hugo believes that when we experience anxiety, whether we're smoking or doing shrooms or any experience that brings up immense anxiety for us, it's the body trying to release that pent up negative energy or trauma or shock that we have in the body, and it's trying to be released. And in those moments, it's really good to move and I feel like that's another reason why they say the gym is good, you know, because anytime you're moving your body, it's releasing a lot of endorphins, like chemicals that make the body feel good.
Yeah.
But in general, in the moments when you are experiencing anxiety, it's good to move the body. And I've tested that theory myself firsthand when I had that, and I shook. And it's funny, I don't remember if I had already seen that video at the time, but
No,
I was
think
experiencing anxiety so bad, and I started shaking, literally moving
It's
my
like your
body like
instinct,
crazy.
right?
Yeah, I just started doing whatever the heck my body wanted to
Oh, I
do.
remember thinking like, what the hell?
Yeah, and I was doing it. I was literally like in bed, like, and literally, you guys, like, I felt great. But as soon as I stopped, I felt shitty again. But I didn't do it for long enough. I would only do it for a couple seconds. And that zebra in the video did it for
minutes, like for a
for
long time.
minutes. It was shaking for a minute, y'all. Like, and then when it was finally done and it felt like it was done, it got up and it walked away. So
yeah,
that was a lesson right there.
That's something they take away from us. Like, men don't cry, and like, you know,
Yeah.
this, some of that. I'm like, bro.
No,
Yeah.
men should cry. Everyone needs
Everyone
to
should
cry.
cry,
Because
yo.
I know a fair share of girls that don't.
I mean, you're just not human if you don't cry, though. Like, I feel like it's natural. It's a part of like your
Yeah, that's why it's so insane to
nature.
me that this narrative of men don't cry is so insane to me, and it's sad how it's culturally and just as a world has bought into that narrative of men don't cry.
Yeah.
It just logically doesn't make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
we're all human beings.
Yeah.
We just have a different gender.
Not only that, but like there's girls who like want all this affection from a guy, but they're like, nah, but if he cries, nah, like, you know. I'm like, okay, how do you connect the dots? Because if you want someone who don't cry, I feel like they don't truly know how to.
Yeah, and then
I don't know.
and girls that say that have also bought into that narrative, and it's sad because it's just, I don't even know. I have nothing else to say, but it's sad because I know that there are people that want to cry and they do it alone, which is good. Get it out, even if you feel like you have to do it alone. Like, let it out. But the comfort you feel from being able to cry with a friend or with a partner is another level of comfort. It's one of the best feelings of comfort.
It's like it's one of the most healing experiences as a guy, at
to
least,
be for anyone,
for anyone,
to be able to hold space for someone, to be upset and to cry, and to feel that love and comfort from someone when you are the one that is crying. And it makes me sad to think that a lot of the world has been robbed of that. It's like we've been robbed of so many things. Why couldn't we just have that? Like, to be able to comfort each other, you know, to be able to be there for another and allow ourselves to express ourselves in however we need to, and including crying, you know. I have I'm lucky enough to say I cry. You know, I'm a huge crier, and I'll cry in front of you. I'll cry in front of a stranger. I'll cry in front of anyone. And I feel like that is a gift because I know a lot of people that can't cry at all, or they just can't cry with anyone around. They have to do it alone. And I can't imagine how lonely that must feel. And I know some people don't mind it. They feel comfortable crying alone. But naturally, we as human beings, we need other people. Imagine existing on Earth just alone. Why do anything? Why create? Why? There's no point. we need other human beings. We are beings that we don't just need food and water to survive. We need connection. We need interaction. We need love.
Mm-hmm.
We need all these things that only other human beings can give us.
Yeah.
And I feel like comfort is one of those things. Comfort is one thing that we can get from many things, unhealthy things. A lot of people think they find comfort in food and alcohol and drugs and social media and all these things. But reality, true comfort, I believe, comes from other human beings.
Yeah.
And from yourself. But,
for sure, yeah.
But it's a need. It's not a want. Human beings need other human beings. And let's normalize crying, guys.
Yeah.
Let's,
for all the boys
if you're
out
a man, if you're a woman watching this and you feel like you can't cry and you've been told no llores, you know, or be a big girl or be a big boy, you know. I hear that a lot, even with
stop
girls.
being
like,
so sensitive.
Like, stop being a girl too. Like, or
stop being a girl. Bro,
yeah.
That's such a weird thing to say to
stop
someone.
Stop being a girl,
fool.
Or, and, you know, guys would be told stop being a girl, but girls would be told be a big girl, you know. Because, like, if you're crying, you're acting like a little girl. You know what I mean?
So, like, big girls don't cry.
Big girls don't cry. Yeah.
The fucking
exactly.
Song,
so it's
wonder.
like even girls can't fucking cry. Like, damn. And crying is another way of releasing energy. Just how that zebra was shaking, releasing. Crying also cleans out your nervous system. And I forgot.
Yeah, I know that zebra
Look it
had
up,
a crying
y'all,
session right
there's
after that
so shit. Yeah, you guys have all had a good ass crying session, and that wave of just calmness and peace that comes over after you've had it, the stillness, that feeling of like, I'm okay, like everything's gonna be okay. That there is a process that is going on a physical level that is cleaning you of stress and things that are going on in your body. That crying is so important. And sleep does the same thing too. When you go through stress during the day, the body will replay a lot of stressful things in your sleep as a way to process it. If you avoided it during the day, sleep has its own process of processing stressful and trauma that you had during the day to relieve your body from the toll.
Do you think that's why people experience like nightmares and shit? Because maybe something they didn't process.
Yes.
Manifest as a nightmare.
Yeah. Or
what's that thing called where you can't move?
Yeah, dude, that's happened to me. Like, there's been times too, like when I've avoided something for a long time, but it's been eating at me, and I'll have dreams that mimic what I'm stressed about, what's worrying me, and it's I don't know. It's just I feel like that's like the brain's way of saying like, hey, we need to pay attention to this, not in like a way to worry about it more, but let's find another way to help ourselves deal with this, because ignoring it is stressing you out.
Storing in the muscles.
It's storing it. You're storing it, and that's not good. You know, disease is caused by stress.
Oh, yeah.
Stress is the number one cause of disease in the body, and stress manifests in physical disease.
Yeah. But my whole entire life, I feel like I manifested disease or like sickness onto myself.
Yeah. When I met you, dude, you're always sick. Yeah. Always sick.
I always had like heart problems or something. Like I remember I would like pass out.
Lactose intolerant, physical pain. Your back is always hurting. Yeah. Your feet. Remember your feet? You were going.
Oh yeah, I had like a whole phase on my feet where I couldn't even walk.
You couldn't walk, and you would work at Stater Brothers, dude. Like.
Yeah, they fucked up my feet, man. But I don't know. It's yeah. I mean, all the canas and everything. Like that's how you know. Like all the stress.
You went through it.
But stress is really like, that's like the number one killer in this whole world, man.
But you know what? I truly do believe. What was that one story we were talking about the other day? How? Oh, I'm reading this book right now. And what was the title of the book?
Something about a journey or something. A new man or new something.
Journey to yourself, or I don't remember the name of the book, guys, but I'm reading this book right now, and it talks about it's written by someone who was in a concentration camp back when the Nazis were throwing all the Jews in the concentration camps. And this guy that wrote the book, he's a writer, and at the time, USA offered him a visa for him to travel to the US to have shelter to escape from the Nazis, pretty much. And this visa was for, what are they called when migrants, immigrants seek asylum?
Seek what?
Asylum, is that what it's called? When they seek, when they go to their countries, like running away from being prosecuted. I think it's called like seeking asylum or something like that. No. But pretty much just the USA was giving visas to people to come to the US, to evade like being thrown into concentration camps. And he was talking about how he obviously was like, that's good, he was getting this visa, but his mom and dad were gonna be left behind. And he was really torn between staying there in Germany with his parents, or fleeing to the US and being safe by himself. And he said that he didn't know what to pick, and he had to make a choice soon. He had to make a choice soon of leaving or staying with his parents. Mm-hmm. And he said one day his dad, he walked into the kitchen and his dad had like a piece of marble on the table, and that he asked his dad, like, "Oh, Dad, like, what's this piece of marble from?" And the dad said that some Germans had burned down a church of some sort, and the church was like burnt down. It was in shambles, and there's a lot of marble, like mosaics and things like that. Mm-hmm. It was all destroyed, and he said that that piece of marble was a part of the 10 Commandments. I guess it had the 10 Commandments drilled into like some marble, and he said that he took a piece of the marble just like as a keepsake from the church, and that the son asked his dad, like, what commandment was this from? And the dad said that it was from the commandment of like, honor your father and your mother and long life you shall have. And in that moment, he said he knew that he was supposed to stay. Nice. Because he had been asking God for a sign, like, should I stay or should I go? Yeah. And he felt in his gut, in his heart, that this is the sign, and it's saying that I should honor my father and my mother, and I shall have a long life on earth. So he stayed, and the whole book just talks about not what was happening in the concentration. Well, he does talk about the horrific things that happened in the concentration camp, but the book more so talks about why did anyone even survive? Because anyone in that position either would have, well, a lot of people did die of just terrible circumstances, starvation, being beat. There's many reasons why people died. And he doesn't understand why any people survived at all. And that's kind of like the idea that he goes in through the book. Why did anybody survive at all? Damn. And one of the ideas that he said is that people go through hard things. People, you can't live a life without going through hardships. Mm-hmm. Some people sadly have worse hardships than others. And nobody knows why some are worse than others, but that's the reality. But at the end of the day, hardships are hardships. And if you go through them and you survive them and you heal and you come out on the other side, you can always share your experience to help others. Mm-hmm. And there's so much healing in sharing an experience and other people resonating and feeling understood and feeling seen and feeling validated. And that is, I feel like, one of the reasons why people go through hard things. Mm-hmm. Because they're meant to share that, and it's like, and I know it sounds like, I don't want to.
I feel like that was like their sole purpose is like to grasp like such a life lesson and to pass it down. Yeah, it's like that's the soul knew was about to go through all that shit.
Yeah, and
to be able to like kind of help humanity in a sense just by passing down that experience.
Yeah, and it's such a. I haven't finished reading it, but the little bit that I've read, like, it's just been so profound and touching, and and even me in my personal life, when I think back on some of the hard things that I've gone through, I do, in that moment, obviously it's hard, and you do think like, why me? Or, just you just have all these thoughts of desperation, of hurt, of you just can't believe it, shock sometimes. Like, it's just so many things. But once it's been some times and you've been out on the other side and you get to reflect, good does come from that if you learn from it.
Yeah.
And I genuinely do believe that you can always learn from a bad experience.
Oh, hell yeah.
Always. There's always a lesson,
that's what
I
they're
feel.
for.
Yeah, I always feel like there's a lesson. Someone once said, I don't even know who it said, but someone said, there's no such thing as good or bad. There's just what is.
Yeah.
There's bad, quote unquote, because that's what the label that we give it. But we don't ever know if it's good or bad. There's this analogy going around TikTok, and it says there was this Chinese man, I'm pretty sure you heard it, and his horse ran away from the farm. So all the villagers came together and they told him, "Hey, I'm really sorry your horse ran away. That must suck." And he was like, "Well, I don't know if it's good or bad yet." So then the next day, the horse comes back with two other horses.
Oh.
So then the villagers come around and they're like, "Oh my God, like that's so good. Like he came back with two horses. Like you have three now." And he was like, "Well, I don't know if that's good or bad yet."
Damn.
And then the
That
next
makes me
day,
think even more now.
yeah, and then the next day, his son is out there training the new horses because they're wild horses. So he's training them, and his son falls off the horse and he breaks his back.
Oh, what?
And then the whole villagers come in. They're like, "Well, we're really sorry. Your son fell off the horse and he broke his back." And he's like, "Well, I don't know if that's good or bad yet." And the next
his son's
day,
on the floor like that. I don't know if it's good or bad.
I don't know if it's good or bad yet. But hear me out. The next day, the Chinese government comes and they're taking any able-bodied, eligible young man to go fight off in the war. And his son isn't able to go because he just sustained an injury. So what does that tell you is that even in good situations, bad can come from it. Even in bad situations, good can come from it. There's duality in everything, and the only thing that matters is your outlook. Granted, in that moment, it's hard to want to look at the good in bad situations, especially. But if you allow yourself some time to pass and some time to grieve and allow yourself to feel the natural emotions that come with a bad experience, once some time has passed, if you're intentional, you will be able to see the good in a bad situation. And yeah, when I heard that analogy, I was like, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's so hard to put into practice. Like
It is.
when shit actually goes down, like that's not even the first thing that comes to your head. Like, what is this? I don't even know if it's good or bad, you know?
But the more you put it into practice, though,
Yeah.
even if you can't do it in the moment, even if it's days, weeks later, if you're able to think back and find the good,
reflect a little bit.
I feel like it'll all start with reflection, especially if you don't know how to see the good and the bad in the moment. I feel like no one can because we're not conditioned to be that way.
Yeah.
I feel like it starts by reflecting in the time and being able to look back and find the good. And I feel like over time, once you've done enough reflecting and finding the good in bad, once you do hit bad situations, you'll be like, well, I've already reflected a lot on other bad situations, and I've always learned something good. And then I feel like naturally you'll be able to start being able to see the good in the bad. I also don't believe it's necessary for you to see it in that moment too, though.
No.
I feel like it's necessary also to allow yourself to feel the natural emotions that do come with the bad, because we're human, we're not perfect.
Yeah, it's like a trauma response to instantly like
want to avoid it.
All right, why do I feel this? What's going on here? Like, yeah.
Well,
to even to analyze or to avoid instantly, I feel like both are
too much of either can be bad.
We just gotta be more like that guy. I don't know if it's good or
bad. I don't know if it's good or bad yet.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, but I mean, I think that was a good little sesh.
Yeah.
And we're sober. Look at us.
For real, huh?
Who would have thought?
Not for long.
Not I. No, yes for me, because I don't smoke no more.
I'm over here like fidgeting. I'm like, bro, I need.
You're like, I need some weed. You're like scratching yourself. No, dude, you're good though. But thank you for joining me though. This is a nice conversation, of course. We also have to pick up our child, so that's another reason why I'm wrapping up.
Yep. What time? It's like
parentings.
about to be 10 p.m. right now.
Parentings, you know. Yeah. I miss him.
I know. I left him playing Fortnite.
Yeah, he was playing Fork Knife, and you guys, he's getting so much better at controlling like the mouse and being more like precise, like shooting certain things.
Yeah, for 3 years old, like he was already building shit, like putting stairs and like walls, and like he was like.
Granted, he doesn't have like a good putting it together. Like he's building shit, but randomly, like.
Yeah, but I like when I was watching him, there's so much intention that goes into it. Like he literally does things like
that might not make sense, but you can see what he's trying to do.
Yeah, I can notice his patterns. Like he does patterns with like the buildings and shit. I'm just like, what?
Dude, we have a smart child. Smart kid.
He's pretty hyper aware for a 3-year-old.
Yeah. All right. Well,
is that a wrap?
On that note,
you don't gotta do no Manscaped thing or what?
Maybe after. But thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. If anything we said resonated with you, comment down below what stood out, what resonated. Or if you disagreed or have any more added insight you want to add to anything, please share it. Hugo and I will be reading the comments.
We're open to ideas.
Yeah, and if you would like Hugo and I to start our own podcast on the side,
let
us know. Because we've been talking about it. We've been talking about doing our own little thing on the side from time to time. We mention it.
We have like a lot of voice memos of us just talking for like an hour or something. About...
Yeah. That's one thing I've enjoyed about being able to still co-parent with you. I think we're very blessed to still have a good dynamic, even though we're not together anymore, because I do appreciate the conversations that we have.
Yeah, we approach it more with like curiosity now, I feel. At least like during this little phase of our relationship.
Just curious about everything, bouncing off each other's ideas all the time.
Yes, yeah, but let us know though.
Let us know,
we're always
because we're down. We hang out a lot because of our child, so we got the time.
Yeah.
All right, besties, love you guys. Have a good rest of your day, because I know you guys, this drops like at 3 p.m. But love y'all and have a good day.
All right, y'all. Bye.